Big guys knocking me on the head every day except Sunday. Sunday they sat with their folks. Where were you? No, you can't tell me what to do.
Hollywood's golden era is remembered as a time of impossible glamour, carefully constructed legends, and stars who seemed larger than life. Studios sold perfection. Fan magazines sold fantasy. But behind the polished smiles and controlled headlines were secrets the industry worked tirelessly to suppress. Some were scandals, some were crimes, and some were deaths that could never be undone. These are not rumors, conspiracy theories, or tabloid exaggerations. These are documented cases, police reports, court records, coroner findings. Some of these celebrities faced justice. Others walked away untouched. A few were protected by power, money, or silence. And in several cases, the truth went into the ground with them. Number 12. In 1935, Busby Berkeley was one of the most powerful creative forces in Hollywood. His kaleidoscopic dance numbers transformed movie musicals, turning chorus lines into geometric spectacles, filmed from impossible overhead angles. Films like 42nd Street and Gold Diggers of 1933 made him indispensable to Warner Brothers. On the night of September 8, 1935, Berkeley left a cocktail party in Los Angeles and got behind the wheel of his car. Witnesses later testified that he was driving at high speed in the wrong direction on Roosevelt Highway. Moments later, his vehicle collided head-on with oncoming traffic, triggering a three-car crash. 2 people were killed instantly. 5 others were seriously injured. Berkeley himself was badly hurt and had to be brought into court on a stretcher. Prosecutors charged him with second-degree murder. Testimony described reckless lane changes and erratic driving. Witnesses reported smelling alcohol on his breath. But Berkeley had something few defendants possessed: full studio backing. Warner Brothers hired elite defense attorneys. 3 trials followed. 2 ended in hung juries. In the third, Berkeley was acquitted. He returned to Hollywood, continued working, and received Oscar nominations. The families of the victims received no justice. Berkeley never served a single day in prison. Number 11. Paul Kelly was a rising Broadway star in 1927, newly transitioned to Hollywood and surrounded by opportunity. He was handsome, physically imposing, and well-connected. But behind the scenes, Kelly was involved in an affair with actress Dorothy McKay. The problem was that McKay was married to Ray Raymond, a vaudeville performer and Kelly's personal friend. On April 16, 1927, after a drunken phone call, Kelly went to Raymond's home. According to the maid who witnessed the encounter, Raymond attempted to calm him down, reminding Kelly that he was ill, underweight, and had been drinking. Kelly ignored him. Towering over Raymond, Kelly grabbed him by the neck and began beating him. He slammed Raymond's head into the floor repeatedly before throwing him onto a couch. Raymond's 4-year-old daughter watched the assault. When McKay returned home, she put her husband to bed instead of seeking medical help. 2 days later, Raymond died of a brain hemorrhage. Kelly was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to San Quentin. McKay served time for concealing evidence. After their release, they married. Kelly adopted Raymond's daughter. His career survived. He appeared in dozens of films. Raymond did not. Number 10. Roscoe. Fatty Arbuckle was one of the most powerful figures of the silent film era. By 1921, he had signed a $3 million contract with Paramount Pictures, making him one of the highest-paid entertainers in the world. He was widely respected within the industry, mentoring Charlie Chaplin and helping launch the career of Buster Keaton. To audiences, Arbuckle embodied carefree comedy and enormous success. Everything unraveled over Labor Day weekend in San Francisco. Arbuckle hosted a party at the St. Francis Hotel, attended by several guests, including actress Virginia Rappe. At some point during the gathering, Rappe became violently ill. She was taken to another room where her condition worsened. 4 days later, she was dead from a ruptured bladder and resulting peritonitis. One guest accused Arbuckle of sexually assaulting Rapp, claiming his weight caused her injuries. Newspapers seized on the allegation. William Randolph Hearst's publications printed increasingly graphic and speculative headlines, igniting public outrage. Arbuckle was arrested and charged with murder. 3 trials followed. Medical experts testified that Rapp had a pre-existing condition that could have caused her injuries. Witnesses stated Arbuckle attempted to help her, not harm her. After 2 hung juries, Arbuckle was acquitted. The jury issued a formal apology. Hollywood offered none. Arbuckle was effectively blacklisted. His career never recovered. Virginia Rapp was dead, and no one was ever held accountable. Number 9. Spade Cooley was once one of the most recognizable entertainers on the West Coast. Known as the King of Western Swing, he filled dance halls, hosted television programs, and appeared in dozens of low-budget Western films. On stage, he projected charm and confidence. Offstage, his behavior was increasingly unstable. His career declined in the late 1950s, and, as his professional influence faded, his drinking worsened. His jealousy toward his wife, singer Ella Mae Evans, escalated into violence. On April 3, 1961, that violence turned fatal. According to courtroom testimony from Cooley's teenage daughter, she returned home to find her father agitated and bloodstained. She was forced into the room where her mother lay beaten. She described watching in terror as Cooley slammed Evans's head against the floor, stomped on her body, and pressed a lit cigarette against her skin to see if she was still alive. She was not. Cooley attempted to claim Evans had fallen in the shower. Investigators did not believe him. He was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. After 8 years of good behavior, Cooley was granted a furlough to perform at a benefit concert. Minutes after leaving the stage, he collapsed and died of a massive heart attack. He never returned to prison. He never regained his freedom. Number 8. Lana Turner was one of the most glamorous actresses of Hollywood's golden era, her image carefully cultivated by studios and fan magazines. By the late 1950s, her personal life was far less controlled. Her relationship with Johnny Stompanato, a man with documented ties to organized crime, was volatile and violent. He was possessive, threatening, and prone to explosive rage. On the night of April 4, 1958, Stompanato arrived at Turner's Beverly Hills home, furious after she attended the Academy Awards without him. Inside the house, shouting escalated into threats. Turner's teenage daughter, Cheryl Crane, heard Stompanato threaten to kill her mother. Fearing for their lives, Cheryl grabbed a kitchen knife and entered the bedroom. According to her testimony, Stompanato advanced toward Turner. Cheryl stepped forward. He walked into the blade. He collapsed and died within minutes. The coroner's jury ruled the killing a justifiable homicide, concluding Cheryl acted to protect her mother from imminent danger. Rumors immediately followed. Some speculated Turner herself had wielded the knife. No charges were filed. Turner's career survived, but suspicion lingered for decades. The truth remained confined to that bedroom. Number 7. Robert Blake had been acting since childhood, appearing in Our Gang shorts before earning acclaim as an adult actor. His role as a violent criminal in Cold Blood brought him critical praise, and his television series Beretta made him a household name. By 2001, however, his career had slowed, and his personal life was unstable. On May 4, 2001, Blake's wife, Bonnie Lee Backley, was found shot to death in their parked car after dinner in Los Angeles. Blake told police he had returned to the restaurant to retrieve a forgotten firearm, and when he came back, his wife was dead. Prosecutors alleged he had attempted to hire others to kill her before doing it himself. The criminal trial drew massive attention. Witness credibility collapsed under scrutiny. No forensic evidence tied Blake directly to the shooting. In 2005, he was acquitted of murder. However, Backley's family pursued a civil case. With a lower burden of proof, Blake was found liable for her wrongful death and ordered to pay $30 million. The judgment financially destroyed him. Blake maintained his innocence until his death. Officially, the murder of Bonnie Lee Bakley remains unsolved. Number 6. Gig Young spent decades in Hollywood playing refined, articulate men whose charm concealed emotional distance. His career stretched across film and television, but it was not until 1969 that he received his greatest recognition, winning an Academy Award for They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Ironically, the role portrayed a man who psychologically torments others while masking cruelty behind polish. Off-screen, Young's life was unraveling. Alcoholism cost him roles, including a public dismissal from Blazing Saddles. His personal life was marked by instability and 4 failed marriages. In September 1978, at the age of 64, Young married Kim Schmidt, a German actress 33 years his junior. The marriage lasted just 3 weeks. On October 19th, neighbors in their Manhattan apartment building reported hearing gunshots in the early afternoon. Police entered the residence hours later. They found Schmidt dead from a gunshot wound to the head. Young lay face down nearby with a revolver in his hand. Investigators ruled the deaths a murder-suicide. No suicide note was discovered. No explanation was provided. On a desk nearby lay Young's diary, open to the date of their wedding. Written on the page were the words, "We got married today." His Oscar statuette was found in the blood-soaked bedroom. The motive was never established. It ended with him. Number 5. Carl Alfalfa. Switzer became one of the most recognizable child stars of the 1930s through his work in the Our Gang comedies. His off-key singing voice, freckles, and unruly cowlick made him instantly familiar to audiences across America. But early Hollywood offered no financial protection for child performers. When Our Gang shorts became television staples in the 1950s, Switzer received no residuals. Fame faded. Financial security never arrived. By adulthood, Switzer struggled to find steady work, taking odd jobs and uncredited film roles. On January 21, 1959, he went to the home of Moses "Bud" Stilts to settle a dispute over reward money Switzer had paid after recovering a lost hunting dog. What happened next remains contested. Stilts claimed Switzer arrived intoxicated, forced his way inside, and attacked him with a glass object before advancing with a knife. Stilts retrieved a revolver and fired, striking Switzer in the groin. Switzer reportedly said, "What did you shoot me for?" before collapsing. He died at age 31. A coroner's jury ruled the shooting justifiable homicide. No charges were filed. Decades later, Stilts' stepson claimed Switzer was leaving when he was shot, and the knife was closed. No investigation was reopened. Switzer was buried quietly, remembered by audiences, but abandoned by the industry that made him famous. Number 4. Thomas Ince was one of the architects of early Hollywood, credited with standardizing the studio system and shaping film production as an organized industry. In November 1924, he boarded media magnate William Randolph Hearst's yacht for a birthday celebration, attended by some of the most powerful figures in entertainment. Ince never returned alive. During the voyage, Ince became violently ill and was rushed ashore in San Diego. He died 2 days later. The official cause was listed as heart failure. Almost immediately, rumors surfaced that he had been shot aboard the yacht. Early editions of newspapers reportedly referenced a gunshot wound, before the claim disappeared from later printings. Whispers persisted that Hearst, enraged by jealousy involving actress Marion Davies, may have fired at someone he mistook for Charlie Chaplin and struck Ince instead. No autopsy was performed. Ince's body was cremated quickly. No formal coroner's inquest was conducted. The district attorney closed the case after a brief review, stating no further investigation was necessary. Everyone aboard remained silent. No official evidence ever surfaced. but the lack of transparency fueled decades of speculation. Ince's death became one of Hollywood's most enduring mysteries, buried beneath wealth, influence, and unanswered questions. Number 3. To television audiences of the 1950s, George Reeves was Superman, embodying strength, optimism, and moral certainty. Off-screen, his career was stalled, and his personal life was complicated by strained relationships and heavy drinking. On June 16, 1959, Reeves was found dead in his Los Angeles bedroom with a gunshot wound to the head. The death was ruled a suicide within hours. Almost immediately, inconsistencies emerged. No gunpowder residue was found on Reeves's hands. Multiple bullet holes were discovered in the room. Witnesses present in the house delayed calling police for nearly an hour. Statements conflicted. Reeves's fiancée later claimed he had announced he was going to shoot himself, but no one intervened. Reeves's mother refused to accept the ruling. She believed her son had been murdered and hired prominent attorney Jerry Giesler to investigate. Giesler later withdrew from the case without explanation. No charges were ever filed. The case was officially closed. Public doubts never disappeared. Reeves was 45 years old. The man known as Superman died surrounded by questions that were never answered. Number 2. Ramon Novarro was one of the great romantic idols of silent cinema, celebrated for his beauty and elegance in films like Ben-Hur. By the late 1960s, his fame had faded, and he lived quietly in a Los Angeles home. On October 30, 1968, two brothers arrived at his door posing as acquaintances. They believed Novarro kept thousands of dollars hidden inside his home. He did not. The brothers beat Novarro for hours, binding his hands and feet with electrical cords and demanding money that did not exist. They struck him repeatedly and left him tied, bleeding, and helpless. Novarro died choking on his own blood. When his body was discovered, he had $20 in his pocket. Both brothers were convicted of murder. Despite the brutality of the crime, they served relatively short prison sentences. Many observers blamed homophobia for the leniency, noting Novarro's sexuality was treated as a liability rather than a tragedy. The man once adored by millions died alone, tortured, and abandoned. Justice, like his fame, faded quickly. Number 1. Sal Mineo became famous as a teenager in Rebel Without a Cause, earning an Academy Award nomination for his performance as a vulnerable outsider. Though typecast in his youth, Mineo rebuilt his career through stage work. By early 1976, his professional momentum was returning. On February 12, 1976, Mineo returned home after rehearsal at the Westwood Playhouse. As he walked through the carport of his apartment complex, he was attacked. A single stab wound pierced his heart. Neighbors heard his screams. He collapsed and died within minutes. Police initially had little evidence. 2 years later, Lionel Ray Williams was convicted of Mineo's murder after confessing to cellmates and being linked through witness testimony. Authorities concluded the killing was a random robbery. Mineo was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was 37 years old, another golden era star, gone violently long after Hollywood had moved on. Hollywood has always been a factory of dreams, carefully manufacturing images meant to last forever. But behind the studio gates, behind the publicity photos and glowing profiles, were real people capable of real violence. Some found redemption, some escaped justice, and some carried their secrets to the grave. The golden era may be long gone, but its shadows remain proof that even the brightest stars can cast the darkest ones.